Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. We're like a book club for people who hate reading. This week we're doing the movie Edward Scissorhands, and we bring you movie news at the end of the program. This week we have Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, Ryan Preston, and Rob Charney.
Old guys here.
So who has the description of the movie?
I can read it that. Since I picked the movie, there's a short little intro, and we'll do our radio voice. An uncommonly gentle young man who happens to have scissors for hands falls in love with a beautiful adolescent girl. There you go.
All right.
Hey.
Pretty concise.
There you go. Right to the point, huh?
But just, that description plus Tim Burton gives you a real good idea of what you're about to say.
Gives the whole idea, that's right.
The Corpse Bride?
Yeah, the whole...
So I want to start this off by saying...
Really?
My sister said something about how, to women, this is the greatest love story ever.
How the hell is that possible?
Because it's Heather.
Because he does hair.
I don't know.
That's what I was wondering, because I was thinking there's got to be better love stories than this.
If you like...
I thought the
Tim
Notebook
Burton
started taking the place of the greatest
Well, no,
stuff.
you gotta... It's like...
See, I said Dirty Dancing. He brought up Ghosts.
If you have a lady who likes, like, Beetlejuice, and likes that type of genre, like she does...
Got yourself a good lady.
Yeah. It makes sense that she would say that. And then there's plenty of women out there that...
See, I think it had to be...
Yeah, this is really an offbeat kind of love story.
Well, I mean, it would be more of like the nerd love story.
The outsider,
like that, like the sci-fi fan.
But this is a love story crossed with Frankenstein. I mean, this is a very...
Well, he did do Frankenweenie.
Oh, jeez. Do we have to bring that up?
I just did.
Did you notice how he killed the conversation?
That's right. I'm good at that. It's because he's contemplating that.
He took my superpower. Well, so I just wanted to say that because that was the one part of this movie that fascinating was my sister's comment going, "It's an amazing love story," and I was thinking, never thought about it that way.
I never did either.
I never thought of.
That's the problem when you have four old guys sitting here.
I never thought of it as a love story.
So the question is, who wants to go first?
I thought you were doing it first.
Okay, then I'll go.
Okay.
The thing that actually really stood out to me was all the props that were like out of the wrong era.
Okay.
Like the piano with a beatbox mode.
Well, what era was
this? No. It was an organ. Let's get it right.
Yeah,
it was an organ, and she had a beatbox, and I think her beatbox was a little ahead of the time of the organ.
Yeah, because it was also supposed to take place around I thought in the 50s.
Right.
Well, that's what it looked like. I mean,
yeah, that was my guess.
But anything made in the 90s has that stain all over it.
Of Tim Burton?
Stain?
Oh, no, the 90s stain. You have to throw something indicative of the times in the 90s, whether it be the music or whatever.
Because
but wait a minute. The cars were not.
Yeah, the car the mom drove was like a
Diane West.
Was like a 90. It was like a 1974 Plymouth Duster.
Right.
According to...
I don't think they have that right.
I like Diane West, by the way.
Yeah.
I love Diane West.
Oh, yeah.
The other one was...
freaking awesome in this.
Yeah, she doesn't do a lot, but I like her.
The other one was the waterbed.
She's got to be...
According to what I read, it wasn't invented until 1971.
She's 65. She's only a little older now.
But,
Yeah, the waterbed you can tell was added for comedy.
That is funny.
Wouldn't it be funny if, that was a producer throwing that shit in?
Well,
but actually...
remember that he punched the hole the first time and there was just a little trickle of water and he put a pillow over it. That's it.
Well, I love the curiosity of the character that Johnny Depp played. That was a very he
was very childlike.
Very good performance, yeah.
It was very childlike. In that.
Yeah,
I was going to say it really added to the performance. I wasn't knocking the waterbed because you guys are right. If you look at it, it added because the fact he was freaked out. He didn't know what it was. So he's kind of like
Yeah.
I thought that actually added to kind of the character going. He just wasn't. He's been locked up with it. Or by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one question I have is how did he staple all those news clippings to the back of the fireplace if he can't hold anything?
He's got a staple gun attachment.
Yeah, it's...
I have no idea.
I saw that.
He had a swing line right in there with it.
He put the staples up and smacked it with the scissors.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring.
I don't
know. That's the best excuse of any.
I always looked at the way they designed the scissors on his hands, and I never really understood how they actually worked.
The prosthetics are amazing, and that's something to Stan Winston.
V. Neal.
Was V. Neal?
V. Neal. She got nominated for best makeup in this with Stan Winston, but she actually
makes a lot of sense.
She got the nomination. He did not.
Oh, because whoever designed the scissors, because I thought it was Stan Winston, because he was.
They worked in conjunction with each other.
Because
if you read it.
The way that James said is the mechanism was amazing.
Yeah, it was very strange and
it was what it reminded me of is a marionette. If you looked away, Johnny was manipulating his hand, particularly on his right thumb. There was a cord that went up his sleeve. You could see it as he moved his thumb, and it moved one of the scissors. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder how many actresses and actors he accidentally cut.
Right.
Well, it was probably
you got a bug right there. Let me get it.
It was probably plastic or very light materials.
Yeah. I was going to say the one thing about this movie that always amazed me was the different the characters. Like each character is a very extreme of a different type of character.
A caricature, if you will.
There you go.
That's a better wording.
Yeah.
And out of all of them, the lady who's at Diane West, I actually think she makes this movie. I don't think anybody in this movie, without her, I don't think this would have been a good movie.
I agree. You need a good, like that incredibly straight, angry.
Well, that's Mom. She was the mom.
Yeah.
So.
But of all the random crap that happened around her, she still was this, happy-go-lucky in misery type of
she's
character.
an Avon lady.
Yeah.
Avon calling.
You know what? The interesting twist, of course, was Kathy Baker Joyce. That was the nympho wife. I guess you would call her.
Was she married?
Huh?
Was she married?
Supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly. I thought she
Never
was.
saw her.
Her husband was just not around.
Yeah.
He's probably traveling salesman.
But that was, that was
Vacuum
kind of
salesman. She was
probably. She was the non.
Yeah,
that was an odd character for him.
She was an interesting character. Actually, I made a note in my thing of saying that I loved how the character was willing to try everything except for the lonely housewife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
that was the one thing he ran from was her. I mean, everything else was kind of he was willing to participate in some level.
Yeah,
but I think
I thought was a really cool
adds to his child nature.
Yeah, concept of the character to add. Anyways.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point. That was something to him that that he never thought of, known, or whatever. That I actually thought that's a good point. I never thought of that.
Yeah, he ran from that one.
Do you blame her? Blame him? I mean, come on.
Well, no, not really. I don't blame him.
So
he might have gotten hurt.
And the other part was Vincent Price, who I've always loved. And even though he was like a bit part, I gotta give a throw out to Vincent Price. I've always loved him as an actor.
I think Burton probably did that as sort of a nod to all the work he's done, especially just kind of throwing him in as the inventor guy.
Yeah.
Was this?
I thought it was kind of a weird concept of how he died. It's like, hands!
Died. Yeah. Well, I'm. What the hell? I mean, you got to go somehow. I mean, but I don't think he did too many more movies after this.
I think this was
died
last
shortly
one.
after.
This is the last movie?
In '94, I think.
Was it '94?
So it couldn't have been.
He probably wasn't acting too much towards the end, though.
Yeah.
No.
Probably not.
The other thing is, I didn't realize Edward Scissorhands was a robot. If you watch it, they actually suggested that he was a robot.
Yes.
Well,
they suggested he was made. I don't know if I ever figured robot.
Well, the only thing that really made me allude to that
automaton.
Was the guy, the thing that had his hands. There's a chopping robot chopping celery or something, and you looked at it, and the next scene or the next time it showed the clip, you saw Edward there, and he was
doing
moving
the same
hands.
thing. Mm-hmm.
And he was the way it looked like his sitting is like his torso was up, and that his legs were not attached to him. That's the way it made me look. I look to me.
That's a good point. Maybe he makes organic machines, like Cylons.
Actually, he died in 93. Vincent Price.
So just
October 90.
Just for the
20 years later,
yeah.
So if he was a robot, automaton, whatever you want to call it, how come he bled?
That's a good question.
I don't know. Cyborg.
Cylon.
Computer Ryan.
Anyways,
So who's ever next? Those are my.
I would actually want to hear Ryan's little bits on this one.
Well, shoot, obviously a movie I've seen a few times, but not in a while. This is I don't know. As I started watching other things and haven't seen this in a little while, so that was cool. It's cool to see a Tim Burton movie that I actually really did enjoy. Without him ruining Batman or something.
Well, I think this is.
And I specifically mean Batman Returns, not the first one.
I was going to say.
Right.
Well, I think this is before Burton really became Burton. This is one of the first couple of movies that really.
Yeah, it was him making a name for himself.
And his wife's not in this one, which I know a lot of people love.
I want to point out in this one, I've seen a lot of Burton flicks. I've seen the cartoon or stop motion flicks that he's done, and I got to say this one. If you look at this one and then you look at some like Nightmare Before Christmas, Corpse Bride.
Yeah.
The set of the house and the darkness of where Edward was living is very similar to all the sets of Corpse Bride and Nightmare Before Christmas. Even the house is very similar to the house that the Pumpkin King lived in.
I think that's just how he sees things in much the way that, Dr. Seuss saw that freaky acid trip world.
It's even similar if you watch the movie Big Fish, which is one of my favorite movies.
Well, I'd say
I really do like that movie too.
The difference in the Big Fish and this one would be the colors of the actual world that normal people live in. This one, the colors are very bright.
And Big Fish was his happy
and
movie.
Pastel, and the other ones are a darker pastel.
Oh, yeah,
he
this
loves
Cool.
pastels.
The thing I always liked about this one, especially even watching it as a kid, was how sort of, melancholy it always seemed. It walked that line so good. And like you said, there's that contrast between the darkness and the normal people and things like that.
Yeah.
And the colors really play into a huge
And I actually
part.
think Diane West really helps that. I actually think
with their bubbly and dark personality.
Well,
it's almost like that Pleasantville type of people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point.
And I really think
they're just doing like this is how that 50s kind of house or family.
See, because that's the reason I never saw this as a love story, because I've always thought Winona Ryder was almost an ancillary character compared to the mom, who I actually think drives the feeling of the movie more.
Sure. Well, I think just we were so enamored with all the other things going on, and just the comedy of waterbeds and such that we missed the whole infatuation that Winona Ryder had for Edward.
And his crazy lawn ornament work.
Right. Which I now only being older can I truly appreciate that art. Damn, he was good.
Yeah, I always thought he was good. I just didn't want to do it.
But now I'm at the age where I can walk by and be like, "Yeah, that guy's got a nice lawn," And in this one, I was really admiring some of the.
Well, it's because at this point you're not being told to get off somebody's lawn.
Right. Exactly. Kids. But yeah, no, I've always loved the contrast. I like how it gets dark, like in a much darker way than you anticipate it, because the contrast is such. Especially with him stabbing what's his face down a window. I mean, it's.
Well, that's why
there was a lead up, but you almost didn't expect it to go that far.
Well, that's one of the reasons I really thought this was more of like a Frankenstein twist, because you got to see this character who was very childlike, and you got to see the evolution enough that he's like, okay, I'm done being pushed around.
Right. Yeah, he's taken in sort of the big things and he's developed a very clear sense of, I like this person, no harm shall come to said person.
Yeah. And when you're, have giant scissors.
Yeah. Yeah, when you have giant scissors. But, what I loved mostly about it was, and what I pay attention to nowadays when I watch it is just the subtlety that Johnny Depp played.
Yeah.
Everything was in his eyes, and whether it be big movements and the huge whatever, but all with no words, he was just able to convey everything, without much going on.
Yeah.
Very kind of like Buster Keaton-ish.
Yeah, almost.
Yes, very much. And that's one of the things I mentioned before we got to do this movie is I love the lines that he tells, and I'm not talking about the ones that he speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He does
Yeah.
a lot
Exactly.
of body and facial expressions,
Yeah.
And he really,
which is something he hasn't really done in a movie since.
How old was he?
I was
in
gonna
this
say
movie?
it's not a side that we get to
How
really
old
see of
was
him
he?
too much. You know.
How old was Johnny Depp when
and-
he did this movie?
And I think that added to it by being a very meek. When he talked, he
curious.
was very meek, which I thought
Yes, very
which
meek.
really
That's a good idea.
helped sell the character.
Yeah.
He was born in '63, so he
Yeah.
was probably 18.
What?
When this movie come out?
90.
90. So. Oh no, he was 20.
He'd be like 33.
My goodness, I would have never guessed.
27.
He was in his 27. He was 27.
All right.
Shoot, Henry Winkler
Wow.
was like 35 when he played the Fonz.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. So I mean, it just he really looked very
I
young. So that was the
didn't think he
makeup
was that
again.
old.
It was a lot of makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of makeup.
Yeah.
Which again, I can completely understand how they would, get an Academy Award for that kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
shit. It's
Absolutely.
so noticeable. It's so most makeup you see isn't noticeable, and that's the point.
Right.
This was so noticeable, but also noticeably very, very good.
But
Yeah.
that's very kind of Burton-ish,
It's
where
Avon.
he doesn't do. Tim Burton doesn't do a lot of subtleties, especially in the makeup. I've noticed it's everything. It's really in your face, but it's really the character. I guess is does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know if our audience knows what you mean, but I got you.
Well, that's all that matters.
All 14 of them.
Entertain ourselves. Are we kidding?
We did it.
So
Actually, I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to say in just talking to you guys. Mostly the things that really stood out to me were the colors of the movie. I like the contrast between Edward's world and the normal people's world.
They were normal.
As normal
Okay,
as the
so
movie gets.
you used that just as a tag, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I actually think
we'll hang
person,
a placard and
I
call
think the
him
most
normal.
normal person was the cop that told him.
Yeah, the one that
Yes,
became his friend.
yes.
Yeah, the one
Yeah.
that said, "Watch out for yourself."
Yes,
And then
that's
I
right.
wanted to point out that the
Dick Williams
the
is his
house, and how this is kind of a break into, as Ryan put it, the Tim Burton world of how
Yeah.
he sees things and just how he interprets his
Right.
world.
And it was incredibly original. You know what I mean? At the time, nobody'd seen something this sort of bizarre, but mainstream dark movie. You know what I mean? A dark movie that sort of appeals to everybody is a pretty rare thing.
See, I think even today this movie is different than anything that's come out. I think this movie kind of stands alone. I mean, it's very 90-ish,
It still holds up.
but
No, it totally holds up.
Yeah.
It's one of these movies.
Given the sort of the
see.
time and the place where it takes place, it's sort of a timeless movie. You can
Yeah.
watch this ever.
But it's
forever.
kind of filmed a little ambiguous unless you notice some of the subtle hints.
yeah.
The other thing I want to mention was his worldly innocence. That I liked the way that Johnny Depp played that, not only with some of the awkward lines that he delivered, because pretty much any time he talked, it was slightly awkward.
Yeah. Very quiet.
Socially awkward, quiet. I like the way he played that. He hasn't really played a role that extreme since.
Well, the last 5 years he's been doing the stupid pirate movie.
Yes, he got
Hey,
really
if you got paid
typecasted.
what he get paid, I'd do
Yeah,
a stupid
exactly.
parallel. Yeah.
True. I'm
You don't say no to that.
I
kind of-
would. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm Monday night quarterbacking on his.
And I think
Monday
he
day
owns
off.
like a piece of that too.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
The last one anyway.
Wants to make 9 those.
Oh, he's got so much money now.
yeah, he really does have a lot of money. The other thing that I was going to mention is the fact that, like I said, he hasn't really played a role since. And the two standout roles that he has done, I'm pulling up the actual name of the character and I can't think of it. Anyway, the two standout roles that the ones that I see are the Duke from Fear and Loathing. And this one are his two pinnacle roles of showing the extreme ability he has as an actor.
I would actually add the pirate movie to that
The
because
first one?
The
The
first,
first
one.
one.
Yeah.
Because if that was the first time that you really got to see this very loopy but pretty
I
smart
saw that
character.
movie like 8 times in the theater.
Yeah.
Right.
Holy crap.
I was young enough to really appreciate it. I was probably like, I don't know, 18 or 17, 18, something like that.
Damn, you're young.
Okay.
But damn, that movie was really good. It was really good. I don't know if it was 8 times, probably.
It was a really good movie. I thought Johnny Depp did a fantastic role in it. I still think his role in Fear and Loathing and this one were done better.
Oh, sure.
Although for the first time seeing him do something like that, it's just an amazing
Well,
role.
I just meant character-wise.
Seeing him play the in Pirates of the Caribbean is almost as fantastic of a role as Heath Ledger is the Joker, in the way that he fits so well.
It's always fun watching Johnny Depp sort of invent the new character, you know?
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention was in the beginning of the movie, even 20th Century got into the Christmas theme here, John. I don't know what your thing is, but I think you need a redo on a Christmas movie, honestly, after we pick these. So that was my last point. Was just
John's last point.
I figured you were going to do, the particular movie we're doing, one of the movies we're doing next week. So I figured I would, change things up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
That's
so you just figured that we would cover your own ass.
Pretty much.
All right, my turn.
All right, yeah, Robbie.
Well, you guys covered Johnny pretty well. I don't think there's a whole lot more to add to he did a great job. But what we didn't talk about were some of the supporting actors, other than Mom, of course.
Yeah.
We completely left Alan Arkin out of the.
Alan, my boy Arkin.
Exactly. I mean, how do you? The guy was
so
unreal.
Young.
Well, he played that part to a T. He did it so well. It became so natural. You kind of just had to laugh at it, And here he takes in this strange-looking dude, and he's part of the family, and everything's fine, And his big thing is bowling, and you see one scene where he's polishing his bowling trophy. Yeah. And so I mean, I got to give Alan Arkin props on that. I really thought he was a good.
He did a good job.
Or Anthony Michael Hall, the guy from Weird Science is a jerk.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a lot of supporting actors, even the Christian lady. I don't remember her name.
The cast in this. The cast in this movie is amazing.
It's even crazy. I mean,
he is from the pit of hell.
Yeah. Don't forget that there was the theme song, Delilah from Tom Jones.
Yeah.
Got to give him credit for that. Was always playing in the background every now and then, and that was kind of funny at that time there. And then what I'm going to get into is I've been watching and getting into the shows, makeup shows, like Face Off and some of the other shows there about how these props are made and stuff like that. And V. Neal with Stan Winston were the two makeup artists in this movie. V actually got nominated twice for an Oscar herself, and Stan Winston at one time with her as well. And you're talking about just incredible artists there.
Yeah,
so I think that played a lot into the.
It is actually very impressive what those makeup artists can actually do.
Unreal.
Just really
I've
amazing.
seen some of that same show. It's some pretty incredible shit.
It's amazing, and then that scene where they're showing the contraption, the kind of the Rube Goldberg. Right. And you're watching them making cookies. That machine's making cookies that Vincent Price did, right?
Burton, if you could sum it up.
Oh man, was that cool or what? Because that wasn't CGI. Somebody made that.
Somebody made that shit.
Yeah,
right?
that was.
It's probably the Mythbusters.
I watched the credits because I thought maybe Adam Savage would have been in it, but he wasn't.
And if you look at all of them, all the things that moved on that Rube Goldberg thing had a character by itself.
Sure. Had faces. And No, that was awesome. I really enjoyed that. So for me, seeing the movie again, and I was able to actually just kind of watch the little minutia of the movie. The little rubric things. The little stuff that I really enjoyed.
There is a plenty.
Oh yeah,
and well, the funny thing about it, this is like a $20 million movie. In the '90s, it was a big budget movie, so everybody's paying attention to sort of the big budget shit,
right?
And kind of missing out on those little things like you're mentioning.
Yeah, exactly. I really loved the movie. It was a good pick again. I really enjoyed watching it.
I'm glad you picked it.
Oh, good. I'm glad because it was fun. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. So.
Yeah.
So the question is, what would you give it?
Do you have your timer going? How long has it been?
So my question is, what would you give
minutes.
it?
What would I give it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
4?
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I give it a 4 as well.
Shit, yeah, solid
There's
4.
no reason.
This is why Tim Burton has a name.
Yeah, I actually agree. I think this is really one of the bigger Tim Burton films. I mean, he's got a few.
It's still original.
I'm going to be kind of the Russian judge here. I give it a 3 out of 5.
Jesus.
Russian judge.
There's a reference for all you people.
That means he has to take a shot.
Yeah, all of you 1980
shot.
through 90s Olympics fans out there.
That's right.
All right,
Always
Tanya.
the Russian job gave the
Go ahead, Tanya.
So you're a 3. All right.
I give it a 3 out of 5.
That's fine.
You know, I'm one of the rare people who, this isn't my favorite Burton film, but I can't give it anything lower than a 3 because it's unfair.
Right, you would give something lower than a 3 to this one?
Because we can come up with a lot more that be way lower than a 3.
I can't give it lower than a 3 because of the things to me that are amazing about this film.
Okay.
The acting in this movie was amazing. The character development, it's not my, honestly, it's not my favorite movie, but it deserves at least a 3.
Okay.
So A for effort is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
A for effort.
Okay.
I'm giving a gold star.
He said
I can
Way to go,
read
Tim.
3 with a gold star.
Thanks for showing up. Way to participate.
Exactly.
Good movie.
Which I'm not quite sure what that says about me, since I gave this movie a 3 and I'm a fan of the movie.
You're a
Beastmaster.
sick and twisted
Yeah,
individual.
what's wrong with you?
So the next one is we're going to do movie news, and if anybody doesn't have it, I was going to bring something up.
Yeah, please do. I fell apart on that. Sorry.
Well, I was reading about how 47 Ronin cost like $220 million to make, and
That's insane.
they're already predicting it to be a massive
Failure, yeah.
And the one reason I've heard so far is Keanu isn't Japanese. But the problem is from what I've heard about the story, the character's half Japanese, and so is Keanu Reeves.
Right.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's half.
Yes, I know, but what are you talking?
Japanese.
Everybody I've seen.
Oh, the character that he's
yeah.
playing
Yeah,
is half
sorry.
Japanese. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's the one reason I keep hearing people saying it's because he's not Asian. What do you think about it? I mean, I just don't know if this is a
Well,
film that
I
Western
saw the
audiences would go
first
for.
trailer that came out for it, and if you would have told me after watching that trailer that cost $220 million, I would have told you right then it's going to fail miserably.
You know, I
That's a crazy
agree.
ton of money.
That is a waste of $110 million.
I think they could have done this movie for a lot cheaper.
For $40 million. If that. I mean, I'm talking marketing too, you know. This could have been locations and some costumes.
Especially seeing the things that are coming out of Thailand and even Japan.
Well, like
I
Chocolate
mean, the
Fighter.
movie
Japan.
Chocolate Fighter, yeah, are amazing.
Yeah.
Japan.
Japan. Do you guys like Christopher Nolan
By the way, real fast.
as a director?
By the way, we're sorry everybody for the
Japan.
I didn't jump on your news because what caught my attention is Interstellar. It's going to be a 2014 movie, and it's by Christopher Nolan.
And nobody has an idea.
Yeah, I saw
what
that
it's
too, but it's
about.
coming out a year from now.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that they're saying. It's like, here's this sort of interesting trailer with Matthew McConaughey, and then 1 year from now.
Yeah, but it's now it says it's in production, expected November 7.
But the way that they're putting it out so early, it's I always expect big things from Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But they're almost billing it like this is going to be the biggest thing you've ever seen.
Scares you, doesn't it? Scares me.
This has a potentially to be that like the last Guillermo del Toro movie where it had all this massive buildup.
Yeah, that's true.
And it kind of got deflated once you saw the movie. It's going.
But the things that I like about Christopher Nolan and the things that I've come to expect is sort of limited use of CGI, or at least very, very
That'll be interesting.
It's very specific. Yeah. There's reasons why he does it.
He's got one hell of a cast, I got to tell you.
Yeah, he's got your buddy Casey Affleck in there.
Holy still blow things up and do things.
Anne
in a practical
Hathaway,
way,
Wes Bentley, Casey Affleck, Michael Caine.
So I just want to know what it's about.
John Lithgow.
Yeah, I want
I want to know what it's about because so far the trailer is the most ambiguous movie. For all you know, it's about like it's
Matt
about
Damon.
Like the Philadelphia, story or something.
I don't know. It's about.
Wait, it's got Affleck and Damon in it.
Yeah, it's a group of explorers make use of a newly discovered wormhole to surpass limitations on human space travel and conquer the vast distances involved in an interstellar voyage.
So is it going to be another Gravity?
Oh
Not
God, I
quite.
hope
Dear
not.
God.
But look at Gravity just from the CGI and that kind of achievement standpoint.
Anybody picks that movie again, I'm gone.
Okay, I'm saying, but look at how it looked. It looked amazing, right?
Well, that's kind of what I
parts.
meant by that. Is it going to just look amazing,
I
or is
don't
it
know.
actually going to have a
See, Christopher Nolan isn't known for just giving you pretty pictures.
No, true.
That's true.
True.
I mean,
Right.
he did.
Well, to just sum it up, I think it looks interesting. We're gonna.
We'll see, huh?
Yeah,
We got a
have to see.
year.
I mean,
almost. A little less.
I do have before we go, I have a question. I know we've talked about it before. What do you guys think of this? The viral marketing campaign starts years before the movie's even out.
I think it's stupid, retarded, and a waste of money.
Thing to
the problem is when you have movies running $200 and $300 million to make a stinking movie, you have a problem. So you got to get your ad machines running right away, because you got to start that whole campaign going. Because how else are you going to make
honestly, I don't pay attention to the ad campaigns.
See, 'cause
I don't.
Somebody must.
I think that's the reason why
they count on people watching them. People like you and me try to avoid them actively.
Right.
That's because I don't give a shit.
See, I actually
just
think
sum it
that's
straight up.
Yeah,
If the movie's good,
you know what?
Sorry, John.
I
If
got
the movie's good.
Well,
It's good.
John. I got another thing too.
If I watch it and it sucks, I don't give a shit. That ad campaign did not sway my opinion either way.
You know what pisses me? If you guys been to a movie here in the last year, do you know how many trailers they are now putting in?
Like 15.
Anywhere from 10 to 15 before the friggin' movie starts, and I'm out ready just to walk out and say I've had enough. I mean, it's ridiculous.
This is why I have
your ass already hurts from saying.
Okay, let's give John the floor.
Well, two things. I have my theory when it comes to trailers is the more trailers involved in the movie, the worse the movie usually is.
That's because they spent their money on the ads.
The other one is
Exactly.
I actually think I do think that being years in advance is not a good thing, but on the other hand, it hurt by not having enough. Like John Carter from Mars didn't get enough. Nobody knew about it. Even 47 Ronin wasn't, I don't think, advertised enough to actually for people to know what the hell it was.
Well, some things are just marketed wrong. I think that was the case with the first one you mentioned.
John Carter.
John Carter, yeah.
Right.
Yes, I think John Carter was marketed to the wrong crowd.
Which, by the way,
definitely.
Which, by the way, I think the movie, the green light of this movie originally was like 1931. Talk about production hell.
And then, like Ryan's saying, it's 47 Ronin, and the thing that we have different than Ryan has where he's at is Ryan is bombarded constantly by ads. I mean, you can't go down and look at a bus stop.
Right.
Billboard.
Yeah, in order to avoid sort of a big budget movie advertising, I have to live under a rock.
Yeah.
I have to just walk around with horse blinders.
And not only that, but there's people out who go to the movies and are all into that type of thing, who are always spreading the word and things like that. I think the ad campaign that Hollywood is pushing out these days is just a waste of money and time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And folks, that's the end of our show. We'll never be seen again. Now that James said that, they'll be hearing for their lawyers.
What, that Hollywood's a piece of crap?
I see. The only thing I really like about the viral marketing campaign,
we got the First Amendment.
I love the
For the
websites. Like the OCP Corporation for the new reboot of RoboCop has a website. I do like that stuff because
there's clever things that tie in. They get people sort of involved, which is cool. But
even Pacific Rim had a website where you actually had mini games and.
But I'm not gonna go to these websites.
Well, see, it's
still, whatever.
But they're not marketing me, obviously.
It's kind of making me laugh
because it doesn't have any interest in it.
Well, that's right, and that's the problem. For you, there's no interest in it, but for somebody other,
But we're also not the people they're marketing towards because we're movie geeks. I mean,
we're gonna go see the damn movie anyway.
Yeah, we're just gonna rip it to pieces.
Yeah, they don't have to market us because we're gonna do it anyways.
Well, the thing I hate the most is when the trailer is the best part of the whole movie.
I can't.
I don't get it.
That really annoys me.
Look,
I know.
Let's be honest. The reason that we don't like trailers is because we don't want the movie ruined.
Yeah.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before we run way too late, I want to let you know that we do have a Facebook page. So let us know if there's a movie you'd like us to do, or if you just want to tell us how much we suck.
And
tell
don't
you how many
forget,
times we're
we
running out
will
of
be
ideas.
doing a live show next Monday on the 30th.
So by the time you're watching this, like now,
we're going to be covering. We're going to be doing Rare Exports and The Hobbit.
It's the Hobbit, Desolation of Smaug. It's the year that came out.
The theater movie.
Yes.
So make sure you see both of those before.
And make sure you see it in a theater with a comfortable seat because it's 2 hours and 41 minutes long.
Shut your mouth.
Oh
It's
my
not that
goodness.
bad.
Are we
saw
giving out the
Schindler's
phone
List in
number?
theaters. Beat that.
Yeah, we give out the
Bring it
phone
like
number,
a-
and what time are we starting exactly?
Should be 8 p.m.
So what we do usually on
be
our
late.
other shows or other live shows is we will start the live feed a little bit early to get everything working because we've got multiple bandwidths that we got to deal with. So on the technical side of it, we do push the stream a little bit early, which if you do watch the show live, this will kind of give you a little bit of an idea how we get set up, which is probably the funniest part of the whole show.
Right.
So
Ryan
do that.
screws, or John screws up about 20 times.
Ryan
So
just smokes a cigarette. The
that's
whole time.
right.
We start the show at 7. We don't actually get recording till 8.
And you
But
see,
anyway,
you see Rob cussing the sailor.
That's right, and we do have to make sure that we get the phone number out there too. So to make sure that when you go to Real Flix
Flix
Reviews on Facebook, the phone number will be there.
Do it.
But
Do it.
why are you staring at me all of a sudden?
Do it.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
Make it so.
all of a sudden I'm an ensign. What the hell?
Wait. Yeah.
So,
Young Padawan.
This is derailing.
wrong movie. So, ladies and gentlemen, I gave the movie Edward Scissorhands a 3 out of 5. James,
Yeah,
Ryan,
Russian.
and Rob gave it a 4 out of 5.
Yes, we did.
Next week is a live show. We're doing Desolation of Smaug and Rare Exports, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Seriously?
Dude, I'm so glad I've seen this movie 3,000 times.